So, not long ago, a few years back, I was talking to my friend, and then he asked me this question. He asked me, what is the similarity between people and the weather? And I said, dude, that's the most ridiculous comparison you can ever ask me to do. But the answer to that question is an answer that I've never forgotten and I never will forget. He told me, the similarity between people and the weather is that you can't change either of them. It hit me pretty hard. Why are we so afraid of change? Human behavior is a subject that I've always been fascinated about. And human behavior is such that we are often not satisfied with our situation. We want a better situation. But yet, we will do nothing to change it. Or we'll do little, very little. We'll just complain. We'll complain about problems. I think many of us do that, right? But that's it. And I always think, why don't people just change? I mean, it's only a 50-50% chance that things go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. So why change? And for many years, I couldn't answer that question. I struggled with that question. Why can't people change? But what I know is that if you wanted to change, if you were not happy with the situation, the best time to change it was yesterday. But the next best time is never too late. You can do it today. What I also know is that when you are putting off case to change, teens it's more effective when teens put off change as compared to adults. And why do I say so? I'll illustrate with this picture here. We see this picture, or we see situations of this in a lot of countries. When I was in China, this was a common occurrence. I would see kids on the street begging. And you can't help but feel pity, to empathize with them, to feel sorry for that person. And as a result, give your change to them. As compared to this guy, just as pitiful, but we just can't connect as much as you can with the kid. And the reason for this is too complex for me to talk about it. But whatever the case is, we know that teens have a better way of connecting with other people in general as compared to adults. Which is why, primarily today, I'll be talking about how youth can change the world, or rather how each one of you, can change the world. For the last 5 years, I've been heavily involved in youth groups, talking to adults who are involved in youth organizations. And the reoccurring concept that keeps coming up is how youth are a catalyst for change, how youth speed the process up. And I always think, that's a great idea. People speak about it, people have been speaking about it. But we could do better than that. We could do a lot better. We could be the change. Not just someone to start, to move it along, but someone to start the project, start the change, and to see it through. And every time I tell an adult that, they say, Ryeson, that's good, you're ambitious. But for this case, you're too ambitious. I mean, a teacher struggles to change their class, to get the students to hand up the homework. How can you expect you, someone who has no experience in the world, to change the world? And that's why I've never listened to adults. Ever. But I respect them. I respect them for that. Because that was the way that they were brought up. That was the scenario in their generation. But that stops here. Now is the time that we change. We start the change here. Change doesn't have to be big. It starts small. Like a seed, a mustard seed, very small. But when you add some love, some growth, when you water it, when you apply your attention to it, when you keep hold of it, when you do not let it waver, it grows into a big tree. It becomes part of our lives. And Likewise, change can be the same thing. It starts small. But when you keep to that change, when you don't let it go, it grows big. And it becomes part of our lives. I have an example to share. I'm a huge fan of this guy. This is Mackay Hatch. Some of you may have heard of him, some of you may have not, most likely not. When he was 14, he stood up against the hardest crowd ever. A crowd that anybody would dread. His friends. He didn't like the status quo, and that was people swearing. He didn't like it. So he told his friend, dude, I like you a lot, but you really got to stop swearing. And he told it to each one of his friends. Some people hated him for that. They sent him death threats, they sent him hate mail almost constantly. Other people, they loved him for that. They supported him in his idea. It grew. It grew from one person telling his friends not to swear to a no cussing club in the school. It grew to a no cussing week in the state. And now it's global. There are chapters all around the world supporting this cause. And it started small. Likewise, our change that we make should start small. Another example I can give is the Model United Nations, a conference that I personally love a lot. It started by students. Some say it was Harvard, but that's debatable. And we started with the League of Nations. And it evolved. It grew into the Model United Nations, and now its conference is held every other month in every side of the world, actually. And the whole idea of Model United Nations is about change, where people gather together to discuss real-life situations, real-life issues, real-life problems, and they come up with solutions on how they can change and make the world a better place. In fact, in March, I had the opportunity of being one of the presidents of the inaugural Hwa Chong International Nations, International Model United Nations. And it was a student-initiated program run by students, for students. And it's all about change. It starts small, it grows big. Now, you may say that this is very idealistic, very superficial. You just talk, and that's it. But it is the first step. Knowing your problem. Which is why I challenge each and every one of you here to find one aspect in your life. Just one small aspect. It could be being polite. It could be handing up your homework on time. It could be anything. But with that one small change, you are actually changing the world. Either by influencing your friend, or yourself. You are changing yourself. And you are part of the world, of every single one. And if you change yourself, you're already one step ahead. I always like this quote, one man with one voice moves a nation. One youth with one voice changed the world. Now imagine what each and every one of us, if our voice were raised for change, imagine what we could do. And if this is what change can do, I think it's an idea worth spreading. Thank you.